If I told you you can carry around a full gym system up to 220 pounds in the back of your car, in your book bag, in your hand at any given time, and you have 3 whole months to try it out, 3 months, no risk return. The only thing that stays consistent is the grind. Keep on grinding. You guys have no idea how often I'm asked, Joe, why don't you just use dumbbells? Why don't you just use exercise bands? They're all the same thing. You know, they're much better than Handy Gym. They're much less expensive. Why is Handy Gym so much better than exercise bands or dumbbells? There's a lot of reasons for that, okay? Now, I use this machine a lot, and I know that if you guys don't use this machine a lot, you just see videos of it online, you might be looking at it, you might be thinking, what is this thing? Why does it look so stupid? Why is everybody who's on it doing these weird movements? You don't understand the machine, and that makes sense. I didn't understand the machine either, but I did have enough presence of mind before I ever, purchased one myself to realize that there's a reason why people are doing what they're doing. Nobody's just going to get on a camera and go acting crazy with a machine and look, in all honesty, a little bit ridiculous sometimes with a machine that is so expensive. Nobody's going to be doing it. What is the magnificence behind it that I'm not seeing? It took me a while to realize, even after I purchased it, to realize how incredible this machine is, and the reason why is because you have to use it. When you compare this to a conventional weight system, when you compare this thing to conventional, dumbbells, when you compare it to exercise bands, tension bands, whatever you want to call them, there's a lot of similarities and there's a lot of differences. So some of the similarities are that it creates a stimulus. A dumbbell will create a stimulus. An exercise band will create a stimulus. And a lot of the time, both of those types of movements are lacking in some respects, but are superior in other respects. What I'm trying to say is the strength curve of every machine or everything you do, there's going to be a different strength curve, okay? That strength curve might vary depending on the movement you're doing. It might depending on the system you're using.
Bands have the linear variable resistance, which means the tension is increased as you stretch the band go through the range of motion, whereas free weights and some machines operate on more of a bell curve.
A dumbbell's strength curve is going to be a little bit different than, let's say, with a tension band strength curve, okay? They both have their strengths and weaknesses. I'm not trying to make this too confusing. With Handy Gym, you can load up on eccentric. On the eccentric phase, you have a concentric phase, and you can evenly distribute the weight that you're using depending on how you're holding the machine, depending on the type of movement you're doing. It kind of picks up where the conventional weight system, like a dumbbell, and the tension band leave off. You can overload on eccentric, you have a concentric, you can allow it to be steady throughout for the most part. The eccentric phase is a shorter eccentric phase, so you're not going to be able to do, let's say, like a 4-second eccentric movement. You're not going to be able to bring it down for 4 seconds on that eccentric phase, but you don't need it because it's so powerful. The power of it is just unbelievable. This thing will rip you up if you let it, and that's why you have to be very careful. With a dumbbell, if you can't carry around a 60-pound dumbbell. You can, but it's going to be very inconvenient. This thing, it weighs like 3 pounds or whatever it is. Don't quote me on that. It feels like it probably weighs about 3 pounds, and you have up to 220 pounds of weight or resistance on this machine. You can't easily transport 220 pounds worth of weight, and that's why this thing stands out when compared to dumbbells, okay? I remember I was at the park once and I did a video showing you guys, there was guys across a field and they had a wagon full of equipment. Awesome dudes over here getting jacked in the park, but do you see this wagon full of stuff? Guys, I have that wagon full of stuff right here. Right here. Right in this little bag, this little compartment right here. That wagon full of equipment was because they did not have a compact way to carry around so much weight. This thing does it. This thing does it. I was over there working out with this. They had a wagon full of equipment, but I have all this power in the palm of my hands. Unbelievable. Now you might say, well, why don't you just buy something much less expensive, Joe? Why don't you just buy tension bands? You can carry around tension bands easy enough. They're not heavy. You can put them in your pocket, put it in your backpack, just like Handy Gym. Why don't you just use tension bands? The strength curve is different.
If we want to get towards the core issue of why bands can be troublesome, we have to start by exploring the idea of strength curves. If I wanted to sound like a snooty know-it-all, a strength curve is a visual representation of the force expression of an exercise at various points along the range of motion. In English, a strength curve is just the way that we can visually see the fact that an exercise feels different, harder or easier at different points.
You can't overload on the eccentric. A lot of the time with strength bands, even the very high quality ones, you might have trouble getting those strength bands out to a point that they're going to give you a good resistance on the way back. And even when you get that resistance on the way back, they might shoot back. You might have trouble stabilizing that weight. There's so many reasons why the strength curve on a tension band is just not ideal. And that's why a lot of the time you'll see people combine a standard weight, like a dumbbell, with a tension band, because each one will pick up where the other leaves off. But with this machine, with Handy Gym, it is absolutely incredible how you have such a consistent way of training. This makes you feel like you are on a machine at the gym. This is a legitimate machine. When you're using a dumbbell, it's a different feeling than when you're using a tension band. Both of those things differ completely from a machine at the gym, okay? If you're on a hammer curl machine, it's gonna feel different than if you're using a standard dumbbell. If you're doing a calf raise, it's gonna feel different on the calf raise machine than it will if you're just holding dumbbells. All that stuff makes a difference. This feels like an actual machine. You feel worked when you're done with this thing. And it gives you a very consistent, very versatile, concentric and eccentric, where with a dumbbell or a tension band, you might not get that same consistency. This is the best of both worlds, in my personal opinion. If you guys have used the machine in the past, everybody who I teach how to use this machine, they love it once they're done. In the beginning, it takes a little bit of getting used to. You might have a little bit of trouble in the beginning, but you always end up loving this machine. And the reason why is because it's like carrying something that's not real. It's like you're creating something out of nothing. All of a sudden, you have weight where you didn't have weight before. And it's a much more consistent, much more usable weight, that, in my opinion, than a tension band. I never recommend tension bands to anybody. I personally just don't feel good about them. I've used them, plenty of times, and they just don't leave me feeling like I'm worked. And I know a lot of people out there are like that, where they just don't feel like they do the job. Dumbbells are great, but you can't carry them around everywhere. They're not versatile. This thing is very versatile. You have weight with this, where you don't have weight with a dumbbell. You can't just carry an 80-pound dumbbell to the park. You have 80 pounds in this that you can carry in the palm of your hand. So that's why I prefer this. A lot of the time you guys might think I'm crazy. Why are you going to spend so much money? And honestly, I don't think it's that much money. I don't even know how much it costs right now. If you want, you can check out handygymdynamic.com to find out. But you're getting a full gym, guys. This is a full body. This is full body. Can you do full body with dumbbells? Sure you can. It's less versatile, in my opinion. With this thing, you have compound movements, you have isolated movements. With dumbbells, you have to be very strict because you can hurt yourself. You can't go swinging a dumbbell around in order to get a weight. With this, you can move almost any which way in order to create a stimulus for your muscle. And that stimulus can go as high as 220 pounds, all right? So if you haven't used it, I can understand why you'd be confused. 3 months return policy on this. You have no reason not to buy it. You have no reason not to try it. You have no reason not to ask me for a free class. If you purchase one of these, you get a free class with me. I teach you how to use it. You have 3 whole months to return it. Who else does something like that? Hell no, to the no, no, no. Yeah. The reason why Handy Gym is so willing to give you 3 months is because they want to make sure that you're going to love it. And guys, when you buy one of these things, I want to say 99.9999% of people, they don't return them and they love them. The small percentage of people who do take advantage of the 3-month return policy and then actually return it are the people who haven't had a free class with me. So if you don't believe that this machine will change your training, buy it. Your money is safe with Mueller. Mueller is a reputable company. They've been around for many, many years. They're a US company. You're putting your money into their hands and they will give it right back to you if you don't feel comfortable with this machine, if you don't feel like you got your money's worth. If I told you you can carry around a full gym system up to 220 pounds in the back of your car, in your book bag, in your hand at any given time, and you have 3 whole months to try it out, 3 months, no risk return, in my opinion, you'd be crazy not to do it. Alright, so let me know what you guys think in the comments. I hope this video was helpful. I know it looks weird, I know it looks different. I know you guys see my videos and you're like, hey, you could be using a tension band for that. You absolutely cannot. I challenge you.
Are you challenging me to a walk-off? That's a walk-off challenge, my friend.
It's a walk-off.
Put a cork in it, Zane.
Get one. Compare it to a tension band. Compare it to the highest quality tension band on the market. Compare it to the Bowflex adjustable weight system. Compare it. They're both incredible pieces of equipment. But you asked me why I like Handy Gym better. It's a different user preference. I'm usually on the go, so I need something portable. I want something amazing. I want heavy stimulus. You can't use those other pieces of equipment in the same exact way that you can utilize this. And I challenge you to show me that you can. You got 3 months to do it. Alright guys, be safe, talk soon. Catch you all at the next video.